When learning about doubling and halving, I find the best way to start is with a nice sharing out activity. So I'd get 2 toys, or if you're brave, you could do it with your child and their sibling, and give them an unequal amount of something. So 2 sweets here, 4 sweets there, and ask how they might be feeling. And the child will probably notice that the penguin is probably a lot happier than the fox. And you can ask, well, is this fair? Why or why not? And how can we make it fair? And hopefully they'd work out that we need to share them out equally. And so you can have a conversation about how to take a number and share them out equally in half. And then you can start talking about the values. So we would be saying half of 6 is 3. And then you can introduce the reverse as well and say 3 doubled is 6. Once children have got the idea that something in half is 2 equal pieces, they can start to explore this with things they might be familiar with, like a ladybird, for instance. I've just drawn out a really rough ladybird, and ideally I'd use something black like raisins, but I don't have any, so I'm using pasta shells. And I could lay out some spots on my ladybird, and I could say, there are 4 spots on this side. How many would there be all together? What is 4 doubled? And the child can lay them out and then count them. And always go for the reverse as well. So if you know that 4 doubled is 8, you know that 8 in half is 4. And you can do that with as many different numbers as you like. A game you can use with some very simple homemade flashcards is a matching card game. So I've got the numbers 1 to 20 on these cards that I've just jotted. And the game would be that you have to turn over a card and see if you can find the one that is the double or the half of it. Those two aren't double or half each other, so that's not a match. If they get a match, they get to keep that and they've scored a point. You could also have the cards in a pile and play it as a game of snap. So you're putting the cards down, and if they see a number which is double or half what has just been shown, then they would get to say snap, because 1 was half of 2. Anything which comes in a pair, like shoes or socks, is great for when you're doubling and halving. So you could lay out the child's toys and give them all some socks and say that whatever the number of toys is, will have double the amount of socks. So if you have 2 toys, then they will have 1, 2, 3, 4 socks. If you have 6 toys, they will have, and then the child can count and see that it's 12 socks. They can do that with shoes or anything, even things like eyes or hands. Anything in a pair can work really well. And always remember to do the reverse. So if you've done the halving, then do the doubling. Or if you've said what double is, then say half. So you might say, if we have 8 socks, how many toys would those fit onto? 4, because 4 is half of 8. Hopefully those games give you a few ideas. There are lots more you can try. Be creative. Your child will probably see pairs all around them and halves and doubles once you start doing these sorts of things.